Hey there guys, Fluffy Printer here. As many know, I created my channel to help those in a novice world like myself with 3D printing. And throughout the weeks, from the last video I've made, there's been a lot of talks about speed, and how fast and how slow we should have our prints, so that way we can start making everything work properly. So let me bring up one of my prints I've got, and let me show you. See, little dragon can flap its wings. I'll show you what I did to make this come out better than I normally have before. Alright, so let's get to it. As many of you know, I use the FlashForge Orca program. So that's what we use, is the FlashForge Orca. So I already have it open here, and I already have my design set up on here, as you can see. Let me move this out of the way, so we can see all of this. Now, as many of you know, we have all of our tabs and all of our options within here, so that we can work and manipulate how fast or how slow we want our prints to go. So if we have our high speed filament on the box or even on the rolls, see if I can find one. This is a Sunlu Elite PETG, or known as PETG, as in the printer world. On here, it has our tags. As you can see, it gives us all of our information about the temperatures, bed temperatures, and speeds at which it'll run at certain temperatures for our nozzle, which is a great reference to understand what we're doing with. I'm mainly running with PLA, which is what made that dragon out of, is a PLA. Let me go grab one of those and I can show you. Alright. Just get done cool. My dryer. Always have a filament dryer. You're going to love it. This is one of my PLA rolls. It's also by Sunlu. Now, right here, it does show everything you need. It shows how fast to go at certain temperatures or how slow you can go at these temperatures. But typically, if I'm going to go slow, I'm not too worried, because I usually have my nozzle temps around 210 to 215 for PLA, which is a nice sweet spot for my machine. Every other machine is different, so you're going to have to find that sweet spot that works perfect. And we'll go through calibrations and things like that on a different video. But for now, let's talk about speed and what it can do to help us. So, with our object selected, there are two ways of doing it. You can either do it through the global, or you can go through the separate object area through under objects. Typically, if I want this all to the same way, so it can come out the same sorry, gotta think of the word here, as the same unique look, or the same look, we check under global. Don't just have this selected as object, and then you're only going to work as the object itself. Now, under your strength, you're going to find all your information there. But under speed, this is where we find our first information for how fast or how slow we want our prints to go. So this is our standard set of speed. You go through all of this, you'll see slow down for overhang, slow down for curled parameters, overhang speeds, bridges, travel speeds, acceleration, all of it. The main things we need to worry about is from the first layer speed, other layer speed, and overhang speed. Don't worry about any of this right now. This is into a further advanced area, and we'll talk about that later. But for now, let's talk about this area. All right. Many people have issues with their very first layer, with it wanting to come off the board, like warping and everything else coming off their plates. I've always had that issue. and I started playing around with the first layer speed. I actually started going slower. I dropped this down to 30 millimeters per second, and the first layer infill down to 60, which allowed this Dragon, which was the very first one I actually did it on, which is very successful, and I'm doing another one again, just in red. That first layer here came out super smooth. It did not come off the plate, nothing. There was no issues throughout this entire 9-hour print for 2 of these. Now, yeah, this is the actual size of it. Took 9 hours to print it. I'm very happy with how they came out. So, now, you have your outer wall, which is the one that you'll always see on the outside, and you have your inner wall on the inside. So, the outer wall is what we want our prints to truly look like. So, if you're running silk, like one of our ooze balls that we have, that we all created, this is made out of a silk. The slower you go on the outside, the much more shine and better look you're going to get. And because most of my silk that I run is by Elegoo, I run it at 100 millimeters per second on the outside. Anything faster tends to dull the shine on this. And this is, you're seeing natural sunlight on this, and you can see how much shine there really is. And this is another one. You can see how much shine is on this Dragon. It's also a silk. So the slower you go, the better. But we're only running with PLA right now, so we don't have to worry about that. Now, this PLA that I'm running right here is by Flashforge themselves. It's a Flashforge make. Let me go find one of their rolls real quick. And we will go right there. We'll show off the same color I used for the Dragon. Here we go. This is a high-speed PLA. As you can see all the information on there. According to this, for the high-speed PLA, the print temperatures are still between 190 and 220 Celsius. The print speed temperature for high speed can go from 220 to 240, while the bed temp is still recommended between 25 and 60. Now, because this is by Flashforge themselves, this is what makes it great. The program here within our filament information has that information it needs in order to do a high-speed filament. So, I just chose the basic PLA, but I should have chosen the Flashforge high-speed PLA. Once we go into here, you'll see where all this information is for it. The filament, right here, it's going to show your still your nozzle temperatures, your other layers, all of that for your temp speeds. This is where you can override certain settings, and we'll go into that later on. But right now, we don't have to worry about that. It's still going to show up as the same as your normal basic PLA, which is why I still chose the PLA basic here, which is right there. So I don't have to worry about it. Because as you can see, it still came out very good. Now that we got our outer wall figured out and the inner walls, when I printed this up, I had my outer wall set up 150 millimeters per second and my inner wall set up to 200 millimeters per second. This allowed it to properly get the adhesion and the cooling factor that it needed so it can all stick together without trying to fall apart on me. So, once I figured out the outer walls and the inner walls, the small parameters, which is typically for very small things, the system here usually figures it out, but I actually don't like to go above 20 millimeters per second. This way it still makes sure it stays and doesn't come apart. The sparse infill, I have kept that at 200, along with the solid infill. I keep those the same speed as my inner walls. That way there's no issues. But the top surface, which is one of the outside that we see, I keep that the same speed as my outer wall. So my outer wall is set up to 150, so I keep it at 150. And the gap infill, I keep it at 200 as well. And this is how I usually get such good prints out of all of these. Now, the slowdown per curled parameters is like this, is actual curled parameters when you start seeing like the horns without any type of supports or anything like that. It's got to slow down for this. So you got to make sure you click on that so that way you can slow down, that we can really get these details you want. The overhang speed I don't touch. This actually, where this is set up, has actually worked wonders for my machine. And if you're having issues with this, start messing with it a little bit. It's all run right here as millimeters per second. So drop it down 5 millimeters per second increments and see if that helps you. And if you can, once you can get to that right sweet spot, remember those numbers, write them down, put them in a notepad, bring up your notepad on your computer, do something, but write it down. That way you know what you're working with. And then you can start saying, okay, this works great for this one, but it doesn't work great for this one. So far, I found that this has worked great for both my silk and my regular PLA. The travel speed, like I said, we don't have to worry about. That's just how fast the machine's going to go between each area, which is fine. Leave it alone. But once you got this all set up, and then you can go through and change everything around. I usually keep this mine at an 8% density. I like using the gyroid cube, the gyroid, which has actually been very nice. It's been easing up on a lot of the filament use. So that's what I love about it. The wall loops, I only did this as 2 walls. If you want to go 3 walls to make it more structural and more rigid, use 3. If you want to use 4, use 4, and vice versa. But I'm going to leave it at 2. The support I don't need to worry about because this doesn't require any supports. But if yours does, go to one of my previous videos and we'll teach you how to do supports on there. And the others, and the multi-material, which is our multicolor setup here, because I already have this all set up in my light blue, my black, and my white, which is what this color was, which came out really great. I didn't, unless I really need to, these are the only 2 that I mess with, the width and the prime volume. Otherwise I won't mess with it. I leave it alone. It gives it its proper amount of prime that it needs so it can go through and make sure everything's adhered properly. And then the others is where we learn about our brims and everything. And typically for my PLAs, I like to have an outer brim on it with a 0.5 on the gap. It keeps it there steady, but you can pull it off and there's no residual brim on it. And once you set that up, you can go to your slice through your, and you're going to see how long it takes that you need. And I'm going to show you even changing your speeds up to your normal, like you keep it here for your 200 and your 300, it's not going to make much of a marginal difference. As you can see, just for one, it takes 8 hours and 41 minutes. Now, I'm printing 2 of these. It takes a total of 9 hours for the same settings. Okay, so 20 extra minutes for 2 of them. I'll take it. Okay, now that we see how much time there is, which is 8 hours and 41 minutes, we'll go back to prepare. Well, actually, we'll keep it on here. I am going to just go ahead and mark all of these back to normal, to what they were. So like you're running your high-speed filament. So remember, we had 8 hours, 41 minutes. We changed the speed. And it only brought it an extra minute. That's all it did. So changing your speeds is not going to do much. So taking an extra minute or 2, an extra 5 minutes to make sure these things are properly done will make sure your prints come out great. I had one print that failed on me about 75% of the way in because I failed to change any of the speed here. And because of that, I ended up with spaghetti hair because I was making a Highland Cow Sponge Daddy holder. I mean, we kind of needed one for our kitchen sink, and it came out great on the second try, but not the first. I ended up with a massive spaghetti hair, so the cow looked like it had an afro. It was that bad. So that's okay though, it happens. Let me bring my computer over to my printer right now, and you'll see what is currently being printed and as to why the speed matter. So, come with me. Oh no, I still have you connected. Okay, sorry. There we go. All right. I know it's going to be hard to see. But as you can see, that's what's going on with my printer right now. I'm making a red version of it. And if I didn't have anything slowing down, I guarantee that would have been warped on the very first layer. It has created problems with me in the past about doing that with speed. So, hopefully, what I have taught you here helps you in the long run. That's all that matters, is I'm trying to help you teach you. I'm trying to help you get through some of the major hurdles, get through some of the hiccups that we all have. And that's roughly about it, guys. So, again, I'm the Fluffy Printer. If you like this video, give it a like, give me a subscribe, give me a comment. Hell, give me an idea for the next video you guys would like me to do. I'm always here to listen. I'm always here to answer questions. So, I'm the Fluffy Printer. Happy printing, guys.